Hello, friends. Welcome to the very first episode of the Teas for Peace podcast. I am Samuel Okupi, the founder and creative director of Arewatees, a clothing brand that's on a mission to promote peace in the world using African-inspired designs. On this podcast, expect to hear inspiring stories of how Arewatees is using merchandise and peace-building initiatives to effect positive change in society. As a brand, we are especially concerned about driving forward the achievement of the SDG goals 1 and 4, which have to do with addressing poverty, like eliminating poverty, and also increasing access to quality education. Also, you'll get to hear all the design inspiration behind the amazing designs we've been bringing out over the years. And lastly, I will be sharing important business lessons that I have learned over the last 8 years building Arewatees to what it is today. So yes, Arewatees has been around for 8 years, and within that time, we're proud to say that we have sold over 80,000 units of t-shirts, hoodies, sweatshirts, and other kinds of merchandise to over 6,000 customers in Abuja, all the 36 states of Nigeria, and even beyond. But we didn't start big, we started small, and it all began in 2016. So around that time, Boko Haram was looming large as a serious threat to the peace and stability of Nigeria, especially northern Nigeria. We who were in northern Nigeria were really under dark times where we're not even sure what was going to happen to us the next day when we wake up. A particular incident I remember happened some years before 2016. I and my friend went for an Easter Sunday service, and while the service was ongoing, a bomb went off. Boom! And I remember my friend being very agitated because his family house was just around the area. He tried to go out to make some calls, but he was told to just stop, let him assess the situation and all of that. But after everything went out, thank God his family was okay. But as I was going back home, I noticed a big crater right in the middle of Amadu Bello Way, just some meters beyond Stadium Roundabout. And later on, I would also get to know that almost 90 Okada riders had lost their lives, their bodies mangled with their destroyed bikes. And the sad thing is, I remember talking to 1, 2, or 3 of those those bike men, and the stories I heard were some of them had come from far from places like Yobe, Maiduguri, Kebbi, Sokoto, coming to eke out a living in Kaduna and sending remittances back to their home like once in a while. So you can imagine what things like that were doing to families and their support structure and everything. So it was really a dark time. So for me, it was really about how do I use my design skills, because I have a background in architecture and graphic design. How do I use those design skills and my love for t-shirts to do something that will promote peace in northern Nigeria? And so I started sketching. I abstracted a typical form of the northern architecture and tried to frame the words Arewa within it. So Arewa means north, right? And interestingly, over the next few years, I got to realize too that Arewa means beauty. That's in Yoruba. So yes, that's how the name Arewatees came about, which means teas from northern Nigeria, or if you're from the south, you could look at it as beautiful t-shirts. Whichever one of them works, right? So very soon I was done with a design, even complete with a tagline, Spirit of Oneness, and I remember showing it to one of my friends. He saw it, the design is cool, but please remove the Spirit of Oneness. I thought about it, I showed some other friends, but I felt, I need to stick to the original vision, which is to promote peace, bring about unity and just get all of us to love ourselves once again, whether we're Christians or Muslims, Yoruba, Hausa, Ibira, whatever. Let's just come together as one, And interestingly, I showed it around again to some of my family members and friends as well. And, they liked the idea. And the next phase was to see how to move from the laptop screen to the real world. It's not enough to design mock-ups. You have to also see how to make it a reality. At the time, getting quality t-shirts was a perennial problem for brands. Like, you go to the market, you could see something you like today, but go the next day and, you might not see something nice anymore. So I remember going like to Chechanya market in Kasua, just walking the length and breadth of the market, trying to get, suppliers of t-shirts and other kind of merchandise just to see what was the best thing I could get locally, But eventually I was able to get a few t-shirts, I think about 5 of them. And I also remember meeting my mentor, Mutala, in the printing business, to just tell him that, look, this is what I want to do, any advice and all of that. And so when I told him I wanted to use vinyl print, they were like, no, why don't I try screen printing, because it was going to be much cheaper for me and even more long lasting. So the thought of having to do a print that was going to be 2 to 3 or 4 times even cheaper than what we're already used to, and just getting a product out that would be affordable to a lot of people was very, very irresistible to me. And with that, I went ahead to do the first batch of, I think, 5 t-shirts, and luckily for me, they came out well. And the next thing was to see how to, get them marketed and all of that. So interestingly, my sister at the time was studying at Redeemers University, and she offered to, do a shoot with her friends, just to promote the brand. And that was how I sent the t-shirts to her. And they did some really amazing, photos and, sent them over to me. And, it's just sad when I think about it now, because those were the very first photos we posted when we opened our Instagram page on Arewatees. But sadly, our Instagram page got hacked last year, and I just kind of feel bad that I would never really be able to experience that nostalgia or scrolling down through like hundreds of photos and just going down memory lane to the very first post that began everything. But again, in life, loss is inevitable. It's what you do with loss that matters. You have to find a way to rise like the phoenix, and become a better version of yourself. So after that was done, it was time to, get around to marketing it and selling it, which, as you know, is always like a big work, to go into. And what did I do? So the last 2 businesses I had done, I had sort of like equipped me with skills in running sponsored ads on Facebook and all of that, but they had also drained me of a lot of money because they were sort of idealistic projects that were looking at raising revenue in the long term. So I wasn't exactly buoyant at the point, and I had sunsetted the ventures. So it was just time to find a way, to make this work. So in starting Arewatees, I felt, leave CAC registration first, leave all of those organizational things that you like to do before, and just try to find out if this business will even work. If this idea of using t-shirts to promote pieces is even going to have a chance at seeing the day, And yes, so I decided on a campaign where I was going to do run ads targeted at the 19 northern states, and also reach out to family and friends, to help promote the work. So interestingly, I have fond memories of my friends, Dotun and Isaiah, totally embracing this, and my friend Buggies as well. They brought a lot of the t-shirts, told their friends about it, and a couple of my other friends, And also, I remember meeting my friend Amina, say, okay, what, do you have any recommendations for how we could, get this thing sold? And then she's like, I have a friend I think will be interested in this. And that's how she connected me with Malamambis, and, through to Harmonica, she came, saw the stuff, and struck a deal with me. I think it was the next day or even immediately, to get the shirts for me at 1.5 and then sell to our customers at 2,000, which was also the same amount I was selling to people. And it's crazy when you think about it now that t-shirts were worth 2,000 naira, and like, a lot of change since that time, but it was really a sweet spot at the time, and yeah, so I started doing the Facebook ads, reaching out to people online. The responses were positive, but there was a big problem. There was a huge trust deficit at the time, because a lot of people, were just not exactly trusting of vendors, So, and then for a small business, you really can't take the risk of just sending things to people and hoping that they pay once they get it, So what did I do? I decided that I was just going to focus, on Kaduna. I did some deals with Kadamore and some other people like Malamambis, like I said, and we sold quite a lot in Kaduna. But then later on, I decided that I was going to take another approach, just so that I could really fulfill my dream of getting these shirts to as many people as possible to really get the campaign going. So I developed a state-by-state campaign where I was going to be serving those sponsored ads to a state. But before doing that, I would send t-shirts to a contact there, and then when I'll direct leads to that contact, and then the contact will help get the t-shirts sold to those people, So I talked to family and friends once again. I got a contact in Ilorin, Kwara State. I got another in Yola, Adamawa, in Mina, Niger, in Kanu, and I also got somebody in Abuja. But that campaign also taught me something very important. Many times we lose sight of our current customers or our old customers, and we are always looking for new customers, And what happened was, for the Mina campaign, for example, when I sent the t-shirts there, I didn't even post anything about it on our Instagram page. Instead, I just focused on running ads and everything. And I remember there was a comment on Instagram where somebody who was living in Mina at the time and had been wanting to get our shirts for a while, was so upset that we had come to Mina. He never knew about it. And now that he was getting to know about it, we had already left Mina for another place. So that's a key lesson to learn, that you should always try to satisfy your current customers before trying to look for new customers. Because again, as they say, sometimes it's almost 6 times as difficult to get new customers than those that, you already have. So yeah, and after the Mina campaign, a particular incident that happened I'll never forget. The t-shirts were sent back. When the goods were finally sent from Mina to me, I had to go to Kao to go pick them. And my way to Kao, I remember taking a bus to Kao, and when I got there, I got the bag because it was a Ghana must good. I had the shirts in them and all of that. Boarded the bus to Kasua, put the bag in the boot, and then proceeded to Kasua. So when we got to Kasua, precisely Kano Road, I think I was not ready to pay what the conductor was asking for. How it can be with all these bus guys, So I just dropped and tried to board another bus. And I did so. When I got close to Stadium roundabout, it hit me. I had forgotten the bag, in the boot of the other car. I think I started shivering because I didn't even know what I was going to do. Instinctively, I wanted to ask the driver to just stop so that I'll get down and probably run back to Kano Road and look for the bus and all of that. But something just told me this strategy isn't going to work, because most likely the bus would have left and all of that. And I just, continued along with the journey. And the plan was I was going to stop at Narai Junction, cross over to the other road, and just pray and hope that the bus would maybe stop at the last bus stop with your psychiatric, do a detour, and then meet me up at Narai Junction. So I was there, just again hoping and praying. But interestingly, I couldn't even remember the face of the driver. I couldn't remember the face of the conductor. I couldn't remember what they were wearing, but the brain just works in very interesting ways, So I think later on, I think about 30 minutes later, I saw a bus coming with a man hanging by the window of apparently the conductor, wearing a red shirt and just shouting "Kaswa, Kaswa," and instinctively I knew it was the bus, and so I quickly flagged down the bus. They stopped. I guess the conductor was hoping to get another passenger, but when he just came towards me, he noticed that I was the guy who had forgotten a bag in the boot, and he opened the boot, and fortunately for me, to my greatest relief, the bag was right there in the best of health. So I also talk about generally the reception of the t-shirts, right? So there were just different segments of people having different expectations, so to speak. So there were those who felt the t-shirts had become too popular, so they were never going to wear it, right? There were those who also felt like this message was too strong for me to sell at 2,000. I should even be selling for 1K or something. There were also others who said they will never wear t-shirts, but because of how much they loved the message, they were going to buy and wear. So it was just interesting to see all these different customers that require different ways to satisfy them. And I think there was also another set of people who really loved this design, but felt they could not afford it. So I started thinking that, this is a brand that's trying to promote peace. Why don't I find a way to make even a more affordable option? So I started even thinking about cheaper, lower quality shirts. I also even played with the idea of using okrika, to just make something that they could afford. And I remember going again to Kaswa Market, looking for the best okrika I could get, and the best low quality shirts I could get. And I did some samples, and I remember showing it to my wife, who was my girlfriend at the time, and my uncle. And they just told me that no, I can't do this. This is definitely going to spoil the reputation of the brand and everything. And I kind of agree with them, but I still felt, let me do a test and see. So I got some of them. I presented that offer to some of them. Okay, buy this stuff at 1K and see, but it was still unaffordable to them. So I learned a very important lesson there, that you really cannot position your brand or business for everybody, right? You have to position for a certain number of people who are willing to, who value your work and are able to exchange money for that value. But the other thing I learned was that even as you have maybe a small customer segment for what you're doing, your message can appeal to a wider audience, and there are different touch points for that. So I'll give a typical instance. Let's look at the music industry. Let's say maybe there is an A-list artist. Very few people will be able to pay that A-list artist the kind of money that will be paid to him to come and headline a World Cup opening ceremony, right? But then they will also, at the bottom of that pyramid, the next step of that pyramid, you may have people who would want that A-list artist for their private birthday party or a wedding ceremony. Of course, they're not going to pay that much. And then also, the artist could also have a concert, right? And you would have people pay for VIP seats, which will definitely not be as expensive as, what they will be paid for that private birthday party or so. And you also have people who would pay for regular seats that will be much cheaper than the VIP seats. And on the bottom level again, you find people who would buy the songs of that artist on iTunes for a little less than $3 or something, And then you still have others again who will not buy those songs, but would actively look for them and download or stream. And then there are yet others again who would just hear the song by chance on the radio and like them. So you see, they're just different touch points to this, different revenue streams and all of that. So for me, I think every business should also look at a way to, especially when you're trying to do something that has some social impact. You know, you could have your premium products that people get, but then you also find other touch points, maybe like events or community outreaches or all this kind of stuff that will get a lot more people invested in what you're doing. So yes, there was a big challenge that I witnessed when we started the campaign. So while running the sponsored ads at a point, I started getting some shocking comments. I mean, I had started this brand to promote peace, right? And I started seeing comments saying that I'm just trying to carve out an Arewa Republic. I'm trying to break up Nigeria and all of that. I was shocked. Like, I mean, at a point, I almost thought of just quitting, like just stop this, because, you know, it was just very daunting to me. Like, how did this turn into this, right? But after some reflection, I felt I cannot be held hostage by a few people who decide to see what I was doing from a different perspective, right? But beyond that, I also decided that I was going to use that as a positive feedback. And interestingly, that was what led to the broader vision of trying to do Nigeria-inspired t-shirts that would help promote peace on a national level. So related to that, in 2016, same 2016 in July, I remember being in the banking hall, the long queue, waiting to, you know, get money and all of that. And I saw this really nice poster by hanging on one of the walls. It had a blown out thumbprint image. You know, I think it was a poster asking people to register for their BVN. And that image struck me. I had never imagined that a thumbprint would look that beautiful when blown up. And it hit me. I could do something like this and just, you know, inscribe the national pledge within the thumbprint and create something, you know, unique. And that was how the Niger Pledge thumbprint series was born. And that campaign is something that is very nostalgic for me, because the way we designed the campaign, it really again showed that Nigeria is like a wonderful country. So we did the first shoot in Station Market, you know, close to Station Roundabout. And, you know, it was beautiful to see how the kind of warm reception we got from the market sellers who were selling their watermelons and their pineapples and vegetables and what have you. You know, we even gave them little placards we wrote, where we wrote stuff like hashtag "I will never take bribe" or hashtag "I promise to be like a wonderful citizen. I promise, you know, not to or to obey traffic laws," you know, something like that. And so we gave some of them to hold it and then took pictures with them. And some of those pictures are still beautiful to this day, you know, just seeing all the greenery and colors of fruits and vegetables. You know, it really spoke to the fact that Nigeria should be a peaceful and prosperous nation because we are so blessed, right? And I remember also taking the crew to Kujama to do a shoot. I had gone there some years earlier, taking a picture there, and I remember posting it on social media, and people asked me, when did you go out of the country? You're not in Nigeria again? I'm like, no, this is just Kujama in Kaduna State, you know. So getting that kind of effect, I'm like, no, for this campaign, I'll definitely want to, you know, go back, you know, that lane and see what comes out of it. And trust me, we took some really beautiful pictures, you know, just looking at the greenery, the mountain ranges and the sunset. It was, you know, just heavenly. And anytime I look back to those pictures, it sort of makes me feel like, you know what, you're onto something big and Arewatees is going places. Hello everyone, thanks for watching this first episode where we shared our origin story with you. If you like this episode, please like and share, and don't forget to subscribe to watch other interesting episodes that will be coming your way once every month. And please follow us on social media to just be updated on our progress. It's at Arewatees. And lastly, please check out our website, arewatees.com, to see all the amazing designs that we have in stock, which you can purchase right away. Thank you.